Welcome to StartupHakk. I'm Spencer Thomason, and here at StartupHakk, we love training software developers and building custom software solutions. So I do a lot of work as a fractional CTO, and with over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology, teams, and products. So the Google 9 Pixel launch event was yesterday, and this isn't just another phone. It's the first AI native smartphone on the market. Google is setting the stage for an entirely new era where AI isn't just an app or a feature, it's woven into the very DNA of a device. So this means your phone won't just respond to commands, it'll anticipate them, make your daily interactions smoother, and a lot more. So we're going to dig into a lot of what they announced yesterday, and this is an interesting pivot for the whole market. I'm going to give a lot of my opinion, so this isn't just going to be about the features of the Pixel 9, although we're definitely going to go over that, but I want to give you my thoughts around this as well. All right, so let's dive into the Pixel 9 launch event, okay? So again, this is a little different of a device, right? And it's not just because this has a great new camera, and it seems like for a long time, all we've been getting from phone developers is just a better camera, or this little feature, or iOS finally doing something that Android's been doing for a decade. You can hear my bias there. But so the Google Pixel 9, I think, is going to be changing the market a bit. Imagine a phone that knows you better than you know yourself. And I think we all know in the end, that's really what Google is. Whether we want to admit it or not, that's really what Google is, right? They know us better than we know ourselves in a lot of ways. So kind of like that one friend who couldn't finish your sentence for you, but this should be way less annoying, hopefully. But for developers, this opens up a whole new playground where AI and integration becomes second nature. The Pixel 9 is about to make our tech dreams, or maybe nightmares, a reality. So let's dig in a little bit here. Now, I want to go through one of the first ones, one of the first articles to talk about this. Let me switch over my screens here. Now, if we look at this here, we can see that during Google, let me make this a little bit bigger here for you. During Google's August 13th, which is yesterday's, company flaunted its new Gemini AI assistant. Get rid of these ads. Works on the phone made by Samsung and Motorola, two companies that Google partners with, but also competes against. So it's kind of an interesting stance, right? That may not seem like a big deal after all. Google is the purveyor of Android, which is going to be interesting because with the lawsuit coming up, there's a lot of talk that the DOJ is going to make them split off Android, which I think could be interesting. Could be interesting if Android has to split off. But so why shouldn't it feature prominent Android phones in its presentation? But made by Google, as the name implies, is an event for exactly that. Google branding 8 years ago. The search giant introduced made by Google branding 8 years ago with the launch of the first Pixel phones. Now, we can get into iPhone versus Android, and that's not really the discussion today, although I'm happy to have that discussion anytime you want to have that discussion. I'm definitely the annoying uncle who won't switch from Android. But it all started with ChatGPT. And now we see this, really launching in, and we can see the first of the smartphones that have been integrated. One of the things that I've touted here on the channel before, so if you haven't watched these, go back and check out some of my previous channels some previous videos and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because I bring you a lot of great content. But we're seeing a lot of work being done on these smaller models. So Gemini has a small model. Microsoft's working on Phi 3. Or Phi 3, I don't know how you say it. And these are all smaller models that they're working to fit into the phone. So rather than everything having to go back and forth, if you think about it, there's all this distributed computing that's running around all over the place in everybody's pocket that largely has a CPU that sits at 1 to 2% processing, unless you're playing a game or doing something big. So these machines have these crazy amounts of processing. So they're working to stuff the AI right into the smartphone, right? And they wanted to start playing a bigger generative AI, playing a bigger role, but they want to build it into the phones. And then I think be able to collect the data over time and to be able to aggregate it back up to the mothership. And so I think that's the model they're going for. And I'm actually a fan of this model because it should allow you eventually, and I'm not going to say this is going to come out day one, because I'm going to be kind of surprised if day one they're doing this. I doubt they're being very secure with this. My guess is pretty much everything you do and say and speak and listen to and picture you take and everything's just being absolutely processed by Google. But eventually in the future, I think this could allow us to put in some privacy where that AI stays on the phone and that data generated stays on the phone. But we'll see. I could be wrong. What's your thoughts? Love comments here. Um, I think we are seeing a new age, right? But not only that, of course, as always, as with every phone launch, we got to talk about the camera. So the Pixel 9's camera is no longer just a camera. It's your personal photography assistant. Powered by advanced AI, it can automatically adjust settings to match the environment, recognize scenes, and even suggest the best shots. It's like having a pro photographer in your pocket without the attitude or the hefty price tag. So with these upgrades, even your cat pictures might finally look like they belong in an art gallery. I don't know about the cat pictures. We'll see. I'm more of a dog guy. But no more excuses for blurry selfies. For developers, this tech pushes the boundaries of what image processing apps can do. And it's time to start thinking of the camera as a smart device within a smart device. So not just a camera, but what can we do with it? And then how can we push that into AI? I saw an interesting video yesterday. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Pixel 9 selfie. Let's see if I can find it really quick, because then we'll watch this really fast. Never mind. Well, so at any rate, the camera is definitely one we're going to launch into. So Pixel 9 promises a user experience that feels less like a smartphone, and more like having a personal assistant who never sleeps. From predictive text that actually predicts what you're going to say, and not just offer ducking suggestions, if you know what I mean, to an interface that adapts to your habits, the phone is all about making your life easier. The AI is so deeply integrated that you might start to wonder if it's reading your mind. And if it kind of is, well, maybe you're thinking about what you're thinking. And that might be a little scary on one hand. Jury's out. Some people are not going to love that. But it'll be interesting to see how the features shape up and then how that begins to be kind of setting the bar for the new integration. So this could reshape app development landscape, which has been fairly stale for a long time. And so there's also a Google 9 Pro Fold, which will start to be interesting as well. So let's kind of, and so let me show you this article over here, what CNBC is covering on it. CNBC's kind of highlights Google announces new Android software update and smartphone series utilizing Gemini AI assistant. Company announced a Pixel 9 series that updated feature as it tries to get its artificial intelligence product in front of more consumers. Gemini has definitely struggled to gain market share. Sticking into the Google Pixel is definitely one way to start doing that. Pixel is a pretty popular brand at this point, especially among the Android crowds. And so we've completely rebuilt the assistant experience with Gemini, which will be interesting, right? I think Siri's kind of sucked for so long at this. It'll be interesting to see what Google can do to actually finally bring some competition to this space. So let's see here. Going back to my notes here. So the Pixel 9. Pixel 9 is also debuting the first AI-powered Android update, which is a game changer itself. So this isn't just an OS upgrade, it's a complete rethink to how we interact with our device. AI-driven features will optimize battery life, which I'm going to be a little interested on, because if you're powering a small model on the phone, my very first concern is power, right? Like, if AI is running all the time, it's going to suck the life out of your battery. But it talks about enhanced security and even predictive app usage. It's kind of interesting that they're touting enhanced security, where I'm sure some of the very first things that people start thinking about is AI on my phone. You kidding? I don't want the government reading my mind, right? But it'll be interesting to see how they can work to actually use this to enhance security. So instead of having to pump all your data up into the cloud, hopefully now they can at least aggregate or at least anonymize your data and then pump it into the cloud, which I think is what Google's been doing for years. I think they do a combination. I think they do a combination of anonymizing your data and not anonymizing your data. I don't think anybody really knows what goes on at Google. The do no evil motto disappeared a while ago. But anyways, so let's just hope it doesn't develop a mind of its own and start playing music at 3 a.m. I hope it's smarter than that. But developers really need to gear up for this shift, because AI integration is becoming the new standard in app development. And I really think this is really kind of one of the highlights I want to do with the video. We're seeing this shift from just, hey, I'm just building apps, I'm just building an OS, I'm just building a phone, right, to, okay, how do we leverage AI? It's pretty much become the center of every development conversation. and if you disagree, I'd love to have you leave a comment down below. But at the end of the day, you can disagree all you want, but obviously we are seeing billions. I mean, just a huge amount of money. The market is shifting to this. You see Facebook integrating AI or Meta integrating Meta integrating AI into Facebook. You see Google integrating Gemini into their phones. Apple's doing the same thing into their phones. ChatGPT is now starting to lose some ground here, even if their user interface is one of the better. So I think at this point, developers have got to gear up for the shift. Whether you agree with it, whether you love it, it's kind of like we could have said, 15 years ago, hey, look, I don't want anything to do with a smartphone in my pocket. Like that would have been, like we look back at that now and think, man, how stupid. But there was people who said that. No, I'm good with my flip phone. I don't want that smart thing in my pocket, right? I think we're going to see the same thing happen with AI. I think we're going to look back a decade from now, look at the AI integrations and think, man, I missed it. And I think if we aren't jumping onto that, I think we will really jump it. So I think we will feel like we missed it. So this really is important for developers. It means a renewed focus on building apps that respect users' privacy, but while leveraging AI capabilities. Now, I'm curious to see if Google's following that, but I know at least in talk, that's what they say. So it's a fine line to walk, and we've got to make sure we're doing that today. Now, The Verge gives a really good breakdown of kind of all the features, and so let me kind of blow through these really quick. Gives you another Pro to choose from. So there's the Pixel 9 and the Pixel 9 Pro, which is a little bit bigger. It looks like there's also a Pro XL with a 6.8 screen, right? We also get the Pixel 9 Fold with a bigger screen, so that's going to be interesting. Fold is is thinner than last year's Fold, measuring 5.1 millimeters. Whew, that's thin. I'm wondering what they're doing with the crease on the screen. I've really looked at these. I actually run with a Samsung. My boys do dirt biking, and I do a ton of video shooting, and so they're 10x video. I use it all the time, so that's why I've stuck with Samsung. But man, I've been torn back and forth between Pixel. I don't know. This one sounds pretty tempting. Anyways, AI features galore, as we've been kind of talking about, right? So they toss some AI imaging tools. So I was trying to find for you here is to show you, kind of the selfie part of it. I saw a little ad fly through for it yesterday where you could do a selfie. Basically, like took a picture of the selfie of one person, and then it like leaves that person, and then the second person can go switch with the phones rather than trying to do old school selfie like this. And then the other person runs over, takes it, and you can actually merge the two pictures together very simply. Like it has a mode for it. Google Pixel 3 watch. I'm not a huge smartwatch fan. I just figure like I have one screen to look at. I look at this screen all day long. Last thing I need is another screen. There's times I want to drop my phone and walk away, and I feel like the watch would distract me from being with my kids and my family. So I've never been a huge smartwatch fan, but this watch actually gave me kind of a minute to turn. Looks like one of the lightest ones to come out. Has some crazy screen's super bright. Just looks really good. Bud Pro. Gemini voice chat options, right? So this is really, again, back into the AI stuff. Get into Pixel 3. Kind of looks like the end of the big announcement. So really, again, it's kind of really centered around AI and the AI being integrated right into the phone. Now, beyond AI, the Pixel 9 also brought some impressive hardware upgrades. There's the new Tensor chip, which everybody's been talking about, and it's specifically designed for AI tasks. And it takes performance to a whole new level. It's not just about speed, though, as I've been talking about for a while on the channel. So if you haven't followed up on my previous videos, go follow up on them. I talk a lot about AI. I've been talking about this hardware. I've been talking about this very thing right here. The Tensor chip is going to be really good because it's going to be a balance of power, and so super fast, very efficient, but then also about optimizing, mean you can do more with less power, right? And that's super important anymore. I think the race for pure speed is gone. I think we're going to see it we're seeing it in the AI chips, and that's where the server race is really going to go. But even majority of servers sit at just a minimal under 10% CPU load. We don't run stuff that just is CPU intensive anymore. It is about power to efficiency ratings, right? Power to speed. And with phones, nothing's more. Everybody hates having to charge their phone, if you've used it a lot in a day. Like a phone has got to go more than a day. So the Tensor chip's going to be huge for this because it's equivalent of getting more coffee out of just one cup, right? For developers, this means that you can harness the power of the Tensor chip and create more powerful, efficient apps that can do more without draining the battery. So the Pixel 9 is more than just a pretty face. It's a powerhouse under the hood. And as you dig into the Tensor chip on the Pixel 9, let me see if I can find a good Tensor chip, Pixel 9. Let's see if we can find some specs here. It's actually pretty impressive, if I can speak. Let's grab this article here really quick and take a look at this one. So the Tensor 9 chip. All right, here's some of our speed here So it looks like we've got 4 different kind, but like the top one here is, so we've got 4 times ARM processing or 3 times ARM processing. So again, you can see the older chips, but the new G4 is what's going to be loaded into this. It's got a huge fast GPU. RAM is LPDDR5, super fast. Got all the media decoding built right into the chip, so you're not even having to use software to decode the video. And it's got just a stack of, this is all the connectivity, right? So good 4G, good 5G, Wi-Fi 7. Man, I don't even like Wi-Fi 7. This is crazy. As well as satellite connectivity. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. All this built into the chip, right? And it's on Samsung's 4 nanometer, build. So they're saying not a lot has changed with it, right? Like the speeds and everything is a little bit faster on the processor. But I think it's the efficiencies. That's really the biggest thing. It's never been about blazing fast performance. It's been about efficiencies, right? So we just want to make a move to a smaller processing node, right? Because I think what everybody's finding really quick is that you're not limited. You don't ever pull up your phone and go, man, I wish this thing would load faster. I mean, you're waiting for your internet connection for data to come over, but you're never looking at your phone going, man, I wish the processor was faster. You actually generally wish you could downclock the processor and the GPU so you could get longer battery life. And so I think so the hardware under the hood is great. Now, launch of the Pixel 9 isn't just a big deal for Google. It's a sign where global technology is heading. Definitely, I think you can't argue that Google's one of the trendsetters, right? AI has become more integrated into our devices, and countries around the world are taking note, especially when it comes to data privacy and security. I'm sure the EU is just all over this. It wouldn't surprise me if there's countries inside of Europe that they may not be able to even sell this. I'll be interested to see. And let's be real, some nations might not be too thrilled about where this tech is heading. Countries like Iran have already shown resistance to certain tech advancements, and you can bet they'll have something to say about this AI native device. Even the EU, like I mentioned, is, I think, going to be really all up in arms. And I think they're going to be asking a lot of questions, and which we probably should be rightfully asking questions. Everybody's so excited to say, wow, we can do da-da-da-da-da, that maybe they aren't asking, should we be doing? But this is definitely where the market's heading. So for developers, this means being aware of geopolitical implications in your work. Technology doesn't exist in a vacuum, and the Tech 9 is proof that the devices are coming and that there could be some political fallout from everything as well. So Google just isn't launching a phone. They're really trying to build an ecosystem. And this has never been veiled. Google from the beginning in taking on Android is to bring people into the Google ecosystem by far. Pixel 9 is designed to work seamlessly with all the other Google products, creating a unified tech experience. From your smart home devices to your work tools, everything is connected, making life just a little bit easier. It's like having a smart home that's actually smart, not just a bunch of gadgets that barely talk to each other. So for developers, it's an opportunity to create apps that fit into this ecosystem, enhancing the user experience by making everything work together like a well-oiled machine. The future is all about integration, and Pixel 9 is definitely leading the charge. Now, as a developer, we love to train software developers. Make sure that you follow all of our coding sample videos. We have released over 500 coding sample videos. We have all the free code out there. And so you can definitely level yourself up as a developer by going back through and finding, we have a whole series of, like I said, over 500 videos, and you can go download all the code samples for free. So, interesting release from Google, and the Pixel 9 is going to be more than just a phone. I think it's really going to be a pivot and a glimpse into the future of AI and technology. As it's the first AI native device, it sets the stage for what's to come, pushing the boundaries of what our devices can do and how they're going to integrate with AI. but with obviously, as with great power comes great responsibility. And with developers, we need to make sure that we're navigating these challenges to create tech that's both innovative and ethical. The Google Pixel 9 is a reminder the future isn't just about making a better gadget. I think we have honestly seen the better gadget thing go away. I don't think a bigger camera is going to sell much phones anymore. It's about making them smarter and more responsible and more integrated. So as we see this continue to evolve, I think the Google Pixel 9 launch event was an interesting pivot in the market, introducing the new first smartphone AI, AI native smartphone, sorry. And with AI deeply integrated into every aspect of the device, from camera to user experience, I think Google is setting a new standard for what our phones can do. I think this has been an arms race as part of the AI arms race to be the first ones to really get it integrated into a phone, and I think that's what we're seeing here. So their hardware and software is obviously amazing. I think there's nobody who can argue the Pixel 9 hardware is fantastic. But really, the big story here is about what's under the covers. And so as AI continues to shape, especially the tech world, the Pixel 9 is going to be really a spot where I think we saw a pivot in the market to really see AI start going into that realm. So what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I love having a great discussion. I see somebody throwing a comment in here and said, should I purchase the advanced version of Gemini? I still don't have access to get to GPT Advanced Voice Assistant. It's not available in his location. So for Joseph Edwards, I'm not sure. It's a really good question. I'd have to research into that and look into a little bit more on exactly what the advanced Gemini brings you. Did you sign up for, I know there was a wait list for a while. I think I'd signed up for it. And I think I definitely would recommend that you sign up for that. I think that's going to be part of it. It's like I mentioned earlier in the live, we're talking about the geopolitical, and I think that's what's happening. Is I think we're going to see some geolocational rollouts, and there's some places that you may not be able to get this. That's where building these small models, as I've talked about, is going to be really interesting because anybody can pull down these AI models and start to run them locally. So my advice to you, Joseph, is if you want, go check out Ask Mini AI. We run our own Gemini model, so you could use that. The other part to it, too, is you can also just pull it down using Ollama or using Hugging Faces, either one. Here, let me switch my screen really quick. So if you go to Ollama and you go to the libraries here, there's some very easy tutorials here, but you can see, so Gemma 2 is Google's open source version of Gemini, and you can actually run this locally, right? And you've got the 2 billion, the 9 billion, and 27 billion models here. And this is really easy to stand up and run. I'm a huge fan of Ollama for if you want to get started on AI. It's a really easy, simple way to download it. You can run it on pretty much any platform, right? Mac OS X, Linux, and Windows. We use it on Linux for AMA. And you can run Ollama, run different models. It's super easy for you to run this locally, and then you don't have to be reliant on your geolocation. The other one is Hugging Faces. This one also is one that I know that you can go and download a lot of different open ones, and I know Gemma is also out here. Gemma 2 is the open source model, so it may not be trained. Joseph also asked me, finish this thought. This is a great, easy way for you to get started on running your own models. I think both of these two are ones to really get started if your location is limiting you from getting to these models. So Joseph also says, bro, Pixel's new phones are very costly. One should obviously go for the iPhone 17. You're talking to the wrong person here. I'm definitely... when we want to start talking about building an ecosystem and all of that, to me, Google is much more friendly to developers than Apple is. Sorry, my 2 cents. You can hate on me, but I think that the Pixel 9 is going to run circles around the iPhone 17. I would go for the iPhone in the same price. I personally would go for the Google in the same price, hands down. I'm actually paying for it. Samsung's phones are just as expensive, and yet I love the openness and the flexibility that Android provides over the closed-walled ecosystem that iPhone provides. But that's me. A lot of it can come down to what your work's doing and other things. Any rate, we've kind of delved off into different topics here. Love getting the comments. Thanks, Joseph, for the comments. That's awesome. Appreciate that, bro. And otherwise, as always, make sure that you like, subscribe to the channel, hit up our free code samples. Here at StartupHakk, we love training software developers and building custom software solutions. We've got a huge announcement coming out in a couple of weeks. And so make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because we bring you lots of great tutorials and tips that every developer should know. See you next time.